Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It's Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. I am J.R. Stays, coming to you from our studio at Techtown in beautiful Midtown, Detroit, Michigan. Joining me to my right is none other than the indefatigable Fletcher Sharp. How are you, sir?
You know, it was kind of chilly over the weekend, kind of chilly yesterday, a little bit chilly today. So here's to hoping that, you know, the rest of this week is as warm as they say it's going to be.
Yeah, you're looking forward to the warm-up, huh? Like, I saw a squirrel shivering earlier this morning.
I mean, it should never be 50 in the summer unless it's like in the morning. So it being like, you know, 55, 60 is for like the high for the day is a little concerning. But who knows? We're not supposed to pay attention to that anyways. So
We're going to talk about a bunch of sports today. But first, a little bit of a local, I don't know what we want to call it, traffic thing, design thing, whatever. Listener Red Pop Bike over on Threads talked about this and highlighted it. And I wanted to mention it because I had just experienced this myself recently. There is a kind of like large speed bump over on Lafayette. Now we're talking about the east side of Detroit near downtown. It's over by where Breadless is and like a bunch of retailers and like restaurant spots. It's a cool area that is also near the Dennis W. Archer Greenway, which is like this bike path that I've explored a little bit of, but I really want to do the whole thing. Anyway, she was noticing about how many like speeders were going through this thing and posted about it on Threads. And then I realized I want to talk about it because I feel like this one sneaks up on you. And in fact, I think it snuck up on me. And listeners know, I'm actually like pretty pro walking and biking and all those things. But even I've been surprised by this speed bump, which I also believe turns into a ramp.
yeah, speed bumps are supposed to be deterrents that like make you not want to drive over them at certain speeds. And this speed bump, unlike the ones that are kind of smaller and very much, I don't know the term, I guess more
Jarring,
jagged and kind of jarring, like a cement pipe put down. This one's built kind of like half a hexagon, so kind of like a ramp. So if you hit it, and it's not like, oh my God, like my car hit something. It's more like, oh, my car is going up, now my car is going down. And I experienced a speed bump. To my knowledge, the speed limit's 30 miles per hour there. I've never known it to be anything else but that. So I hit it going about 30 miles per hour after a soccer game at the field house there. And like my car took off and like not like took off like, oh, like I felt all four wheels leave the ground and was like, what just happened? And then the following morning, I happened to drive by, and I'm like, when did they put this speed bump here? And like, it's not like a speed bump. It's like a ramp. I have no problem with the speed bump being there. I think that it probably should slow down some people, but that's not like a deterrent because you have these people who are kind of those thrill-seeking drivers who are like, ooh, there's a ramp here, who will definitely hit that going way faster.
When the point is so that you don't have to dip down when you're doing the greenway. You can just have a nice little path when you're biking or walking.
Right. So, like, if they're going to keep it there, I think they should maybe either make it a different color, make it a bit more noticeable, or do something to where, like, it draws attention to, like, hey, the road here is different than over here.
Look, I know there's signs and stuff, but when you're looking at the road and it's gray on gray on gray, you just think it's another patch of asphalt because you're driving around living your life. And look, I know you should be aware and be aware of the people in the intersection, all that other stuff, but you don't mentally prepare for it because it's just gray road with a different color gray.
Right. Like it should be like green or blue or bright yellow, something that's like, oh, what's this thing up here? Probably have to slow down to make sure I know what it is. Oh, it's a speed bump. I definitely should slow down for it, as opposed to just it being gray and like one different pixel color, different gray. And then you hit it and it's like, why is my car in the air?
Now, a few people suggested that it should be turned to one lane over there. What do you think?
No. You mentioned all the other places that are there. There's also Dew's baseball field, which is around there, and the field house, which is a bit further down, closer to Martin Luther King. But there's so many places there where like people need to pull over and park while also driving. People typically take that road when Jefferson is congested. And it's like, I need to get there to turn to get onto the freeway. If you put it down to one lane, then you're just going to create more congestion, and which then means people are going to go down another street further. That street keeps people from driving through all the residentials like a crazy person. I think 2 lanes is fine. I think the speed bump is fine if it's a different color, maybe a different, more jarring shape. But no, moving it down to 1 lane just creates more congestion, makes more people drive through even faster. You'll need more speed. No, 2 lanes is fine. I think 2 lanes is okay.
It's also kind of a pain in the tail to get into that little shopping area there because you can't get to it from Jefferson. And although your directions will tell you you cannot. So you have to circle the block if you're coming from Jefferson and then come into that backside. It's just real difficult.
Yeah, no, doing that with one lane now becomes an even bigger problem because just you have the people trying to do that. You have people who are trying to find somewhere to park. You have people who are trying to just get through to get downtown through another way or get to the free. 2 lanes is good. 2 lanes is okay. It's fine enough for me. I don't know who said that, but I'm
the Detroit Greenways Coalition.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Detroit Greenways Coalition. You're wrong there.
I actually do appreciate them a lot in their work, but it is something that I've just noticed as the city continues to change and like the Joe Louis Greenway expands, this Dennis Archer Greenway, other things. I think it is a bit of a mental shift for people. Like there's people now here in the city in a much like bigger way in some of these areas, and you got to pay attention.
Oh, for sure. Again, not to harp on the 2 lanes becoming one, but with there being more people, it moving down to 1 lane makes even less sense because now you have more cars that need to get from A to B. And why would you want to narrow traffic in to create more of a problem and more congestion, especially unlike Jefferson, which is like congestion in Jefferson is not great, but it's understandable because it's a major road. Lafayette is not it's not a major road. It's more residential. You really don't want like long lines as people are trying to pull into their house. Like that's not the point of that. So I think it being 2 lanes is fine. I think the speed bump is fine. I just hopefully they do something to make it a little bit more speed bumpy and less fast and furious-y.
If you've got thoughts, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Are there intersections and things around the city that you'd like to see be a little bit different? You know, I think about the re-engineering they did of Gratiot and Broadway in downtown Detroit, because that was actually one of the state's most deadliest intersections for pedestrians. And they've kind of reworked that a little bit with like the pocket park and stuff like that, which has made some improvements, I think. Anyway, let's get into some sports. There are a number of things we want to talk about. Terrion Arnold apparently has a new nickname. He has picked up the number 0 on his jersey, so he's getting called Sub-Zero apparently by his teammates. What are your thoughts on that and minicamp?
I hope it doesn't turn into a meme. Picking number 0 is a very dangerous number.
Okay, why is it a dangerous number?
It means that you have full confidence in your own ability, like full-on confidence in your own abilities. It could also be turned into a target. It could also turn into how many interceptions you have. It could also turn into how many touchdowns you've stopped. It can turn into a lot of things that's like not great. So to pick 0 means like I have full confidence in my ability. Sub-Zero from Derek Barnes, I'm assuming plays off 0 and the fact that like he thinks he's going to be like a lockdown, shut him down, freezing type corner. I like the confidence. We knew he had the confidence already when he got drafted. He was very sure of himself then, which is great, especially at a position like corner where like at times you'll be left by yourself. You want someone who's confident, because if you have someone who's not very confident in a position where they'll be by themselves, they're going to get beat more often than not, and then they'll be out of the league. From the minicamp, though, the biggest surprise that a lot of people saw and that I saw was like the cornerback competition going pretty well. Amik Robertson looked great. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be one of the best corners in the league just based off of a minicamp. But to see the way he was playing, competing against the Lions receivers, that's good to see. Still some questions about Jameson, whether he's ready to be the second wide receiver for this team. He's still making strides. He's still learning. Last year was his first full year without any sort of major games missed. Yeah, it's still pretty high on the Lions for sure. Some question marks that need answering, but I know the defense looks a little bit better. I know, again, minicamp, it's not like they're playing against anybody else, but the defense looks better. The defense looks like they feel like they're better, which is also a big thing. If you feel good, you play good, said Deion Sanders. I'm excited for the season defensively more than I have been in the past. Hopefully they can put it together and make an early run and kind of keep the pressure on themselves to play better.
Let's switch gears. Tayshaun Prince, Pistons legend. It's being talked about that he is one of the candidates to become general manager of the franchise. I mean, look, this town loves to keep things in the family.
Yeah, And Tayshaun, I know when he first signed on to be the assistant to the general manager for Memphis, I was kind of surprised. I didn't realize he had aspirations to be in the front office. Memphis wasn't really that great the first few years he was on, which really isn't necessarily on him. I think his job was a bit different. Then he stepped up to be VP of basketball operations for them. And right around the time he stepped up, Memphis went from not making the playoffs to making the playoffs 3 straight years until last year. And last year they didn't make the playoffs because their best player was hurt for most of the season. And then they just continued to just be hurt. They built their team around Ja Morant, and then Ja Morant got hurt. So obviously the team kind of fell apart. But before that, he helped assemble a pretty strong team, including players like the aforementioned Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, formerly of Michigan State, Desmond Bane, many players who maybe they're not like super household names, but like they all played one specific style to get in there and get in your face. And I'm not going to say that Tayshaun helped cultivate that culture, but like I do know that he was one of the people to help bring in players and offer in some information. So to have someone like that who not just has a basketball mind, but also understands the culture around the Pistons, as he was on some of the most successful teams in team's history, having that person come back and help would be great for sure. Because it shows a commitment to trying to get back to when the Pistons were who the Pistons were, when everyone knew and loved them in the city.
Look, I want to see changes. So, I mean, to me, why not at this point?
I mean, it's also not like you're hiring someone who's never done the job before. Obviously, he's not been like his own GM, but he's had roles in the GM's office. He's had roles as VP of basketball operations. So he has a basketball mind to get things done. And again, like I said, it's someone who the city knows. I mean, the last time that happened with Joe Dumars, it worked out well and then did not work out well at all. I think Tayshaun has a chance to be a little bit better than that. And again, I'm willing to roll the dice on someone that we know.
For sure. All right, a few listeners sent this to me, and I wanted to talk about it real quick and kind of give people a little bit of background because they were seeing things on social media. And a lot of listeners love soccer and also Detroit, so this is right up their alley. Burnley Football Club is partnering with Visit Detroit, and that's why you're seeing these jerseys around. This is a English Championship League team now?
Yeah, they were previously in the Premier League and unfortunately dropped down. But even still, they have the ability to get back to the Premier League. But yes, English football championship side.
So this is a partnership that apparently will be part of the soccer tournament in North Carolina. Visit Detroit will be Burnley FC's front of shirt partner. The alliance, they say, celebrates the shared industrial heritage of Detroit and Burnley, both which played significant roles in shaping society and culture. Apparently, there will be a bunch of collaborations, cultural exchanges, joint events, and digital campaigns. What are your thoughts on this one? Because people are like, oh, it's so cool to see Detroit on a jersey for a club. Because, look, let's just be honest. A lot of soccer fans, they're very much into the English game or the European game, sometimes more than the U.S. game.
I mean, that's where all the money is. Like, I'm not even... You make more money to be a mid-table team in England than you do to win the Champions League, which some people don't seem to realize at all, which is an insane thing to say out loud. But like financially, like you make more money being like the 12th best team in England than you do like being the best team in all of Europe. So yeah, that's where all the money is. I understand entirely. But when I first heard about it, I was kind of confused as to like, oh, Burnley, like, okay, but there are some similarities between the cities. Detroit has its own gritty culture with, you know, we need to go in there and just bite kneecaps and just get in there. That's kind of the way Burnley plays. It's kind of the way the city of Burnley operates. It's very much like a down-to-earth type of area. So to have a partnership with a city like Detroit and have, you know, some digital sponsorships, potentially, you know, travelers coming from there to here, like I'm sure they will definitely feel at home coming to this city. And, you know, who knows? Maybe it opens up some friendlies at some point,
hint, hint, nudge, nudge,
in the season,
wink, wink,
between another team that wears a similar color. But if you've been watching the soccer tournament, which is the soccer version, obviously, of the basketball tournament, which is a $1 million competition between teams of players whose names you might recognize and players you wondered where did they go, taking place in Cary, North Carolina this past weekend. Unfortunately, Burnley's men's team did not get out of the group stage. The women's team not looking like they will either. But to see that jersey playing against all these other people, and J.J. Watt, the former football player for the NFL, played for Burnley's team. He has a ownership within Burnley's football club. To see his big frame and like right in the middle, see if it's a Detroit. It was a pretty cool thing to see. Like, I understand why people were like, ooh, to see Detroit anywhere. It's great to see, and hopefully they can find a way to maybe incorporate that logo into their season jerseys going forward, because it'd be even cooler to see them get promoted again. And as they're holding the trophy, you see if it's a Detroit, like right in the middle. It'd be a nice little homage to our city there.
Yeah, I think, they've got like the red and the white. I think I'm ordering the white because that's the one they have in my sizes. But I think you want to get the red one, right?
Yeah, their color they refer to as claret.
Let me get it correct. Claret.
Which is essentially just maroon. It's like a darker maroon. Colors are weird. Like, people are like, it's this thing. It's treasure, and it's like, that's yellow. But okay.
Are you like an 8 crayon, 12 crayon, 64 crayon kind of person? Like, how many crayons are in your crayon box?
216. Like, I know that they're all. It's like, yeah, this is periwinkle. This is this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they are that. But also, that's blue, like, for sure. Like, you can tell me all you want to tell me. It's why I get in trouble whenever we're painting the bedroom house. They're like, we need to get this color green. It's this, and I'm like, yeah, it's green. They're like, what about this? It's lighter green. It's like, but it's called something else. And it's like, all right, green is green. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. So, like, yes, it's claret for sure, but to me, it's maroon, and like, that's whatever.
I don't know why, but I want to call you Periwinkle Sharp.
You would not be the first, honestly.
Before we go, quickly, Detroit City FC won 2-0 over Rhode Island. There isn't that much to talk about with this match, except for the short time return of Elvis Amo, which I think just is a huge, although he did not score, seeing Elvis out on the field is a good thing.
Yeah, he got about 9 to 10 minutes at the end of the match. Came on the 81st minute after Detroit already had a 2-0 lead by way of Maxi Rodriguez and Victor Becerra. Just to see him out there is great, considering the last time we saw him was in person, and we watched him literally take 2 steps, scream out loudly, and crumple into the ground, to the point where even the defender was like, ooh, someone come help him. He needs help right now. So yeah, just to see him get out there and just kind of get up to the ways that he's been doing. Probably needs to get back into some game shape, obviously. I mean, I'm sure he's been training with the team a little bit, but like, there's a difference between training to play and training to start. But yeah, to see him out there is like a good sign for the club. Hopefully he gets back into game shape quicker. And then, Yazid's been doing great, but they're different types of players. And there's a reason why they brought Elvis in over the offseason. So hopefully he can get back to what he was doing earlier in the year, and maybe Detroit's offense can pick up.
Now, we've only played 11 matches where a lot of others have played 13 or 14. So we've got some points that we could possibly make up on this, but we are knocking on that coveted 4th spot, in 5th place right now in the Eastern Conference. And the 4th spot matters because that would be a home playoff game. Louisville City is running the table right now. Charleston, Indy, then Tampa Bay, and then Detroit. So, right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, it just kind of comes down to scoring goals. Even though they are in the 5th position, their goal differential is +1, which means that while they are stopping people from scoring, they're not really doing much better themselves at scoring goals. And even before the game against Rhode Island, where they won 2-0, it means their goal differential was a negative, which is bad. That harkens back to last season's team. Mm-hmm. So hopefully Elvis can get healthy. The lineup they had with Ben Morris on the right wing, Victor Becerra on the left, maybe they could do that. Put Elvis up top, maybe keep Reese somewhere, in the field as well. And just let them get back to how they were early on. Like, that was a team that people were excited about. Not to say that people aren't excited about the team now, but it's a different sort of excitement where it's like, we might win, whereas before it was we might score and also win.
Fletcher Sharp, good to talk to you, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
With that, I am Jer Stays. Thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. Hopefully at some point my voice comes fully back. It would be wonderful. Anyway, remember to tell a friend about the show. Leave 5 stars on your favorite podcast app, and we will talk tomorrow.